It's a given that we all have something that we want to work on. We all have a goal. There's something we want to change. And there's many tips that are out there, but I just want to go ahead and give you just a few basics so that you can have some motivation there to start, to get that motivation to go, that motivation to reach the goal or create the change. So these are just going to be some motivational tips that I can offer. Um, we're going to go over the steps, going to kind of talk about them a little bit, and then from there, we'll see how it goes. So, the first thing to go ahead and create motivation is to actually write down and say exactly what you are wanting to work on or what your goal is. Whether it's, I want to be a professional football player in 10 years, I want to lose weight, I want to reduce my anxiety and worry, I want to have better communication with my family, I want to, I don't know, be a millionaire. Just whatever it is, wherever we're wanting to be, whatever that end result is, write it down. Okay. That's the first thing that you can do. Figure out what it is that you're wanting to do, because that is how we start. That is how we start the motivation process, by knowing what it is we want to change. Okay. And then with that, after we figured out what it is and we've wrote down what it is, maybe we should hang that on the wall. Make it to where you can see it. Make it to where you see it every day. Make it to where you can see it twice a day. If you need to put it on your refrigerator, make sure it's visible, because anything that's visible is easier to see and easier to achieve. We often make changes for that, right? So that's our first process of motivation. Okay. The second part of this to me would be set proper expectations. Okay. Once you figured out what you're wanting to change, what your goal is, what it is you're wanting to achieve, what we need to do is we need to think about our expectations. I can take me for an example. Okay. I would love to be able to run a mile. A mile, that's not very far, right? Well, I can't do it today. I just can't. It's not going to happen, it, unless you find me halfway through passed out. So my expectations mentally cannot be that I'm going to run a mile tomorrow, because that is a false expectation and it's already setting me up for failure, which then makes me lose the motivation. Okay. So when we look at our expectations, we have to have appropriate expectations. That's part of setting a goal. That's why we have short term, long term, college, career, whatever goals. We have different values because we have to adjust our expectations around that. you know and if we don't have accurate expectations, again, what we're doing is setting ourselves up to fail, and nobody wants to do that. Okay. Recently, I've been working on trying to be more active, doing more things, and I've noticed that my expectations are way greater than what they should be. So I've had to kind of sit down and evaluate those expectations. And because I've evaluated them, I haven't set myself up for failure, which means that I haven't lost that motivation because I was able to adjust those expectations of myself. Okay. Now, with that, we're going to go on to the third thing here. And the third thing's simply going to be allow yourself to plan for imperfections, for setbacks. Okay. So maybe my goal is running a mile, and maybe my expectation is that I would run every day for 30 minutes a day to get myself geared up, right? Well, what happens if it's snowing and raining and I have nowhere to run, right? So I can either do one of two things. I can be like, okay, it's one day. We're going to go on and have a great day. That's where my motivation is. Okay. Me changing my thought process on that. Because most generally, what we would do is, well, dang, now I'm never going to be able to run a mile. Our negative self talk starts flowing because we haven't allowed ourselves to be okay with imperfection. We haven't allowed ourselves to think about setbacks being okay. So our negative talk just flows in. So if we can prepare ourselves for that imperfection, if we can prepare ourselves for those setbacks, then what we do is we distract our negative thoughts because we've already planned it into our goal. We've already planned it into what we're doing. We're already okay with that happening because it's planned in. Okay. It helps avoid that negative self talk. Good deal, right? So then the fourth thing that we're going to do is, guys, nothing helps motivate us other than our friends, our family, our support group. And I know it's hard to talk about some of these things, such as like weight loss or wanting to quit smoking or, wanting to have less depression or wanting to have fewer anxiety attacks. Those are all things that are hard to talk about with our family, our friends, our support groups, the ones that we're around, our peers at work. But it's imperative for support groups to be positive influences for you. Okay? I've even allowed myself to you guys. I've told you guys, I will be your support group. I will rally around and be your troop if that's what I need to do. I'm only one person, but I can do all that I can to help support you, right? The reason for that is normally when we have somebody supporting us in that nature, what happens is it keeps us going. It feeds us within. It allows us to know that others care, others are paying attention. It creates a positive atmosphere, a positive thought process. Again, what we're doing is avoiding that negativity, you know? So it's important to allow those people in to help you. I'm the worst. I'm the worst. When it comes to like weight loss, I will tell you that I talk to my people, I tell them what I want. And then when they talk to me about it, I'm pretty negative about it. That's not healthy. It doesn't do anything but keeps me down. It doesn't motivate it when I have those thoughts, And the reason that I have those thoughts is because of a negative image that I have. And then I feel embarrassed that they're even saying anything. I think many can relate to that. Like especially on mine, it's I want to lose some weight, right? So on my journey, I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do. And then they're like, hey, how's that working for you? And I'm like, "Rah." I get very negative about it. It pulls that motivation for me. It pulls that ability to think positive. But it's not because they did it or they said it. It's because I haven't processed that through. I have a negative thought process about it. But when they continue, it helps. Okay. So allow those others to support you and just be there for you and to be that person. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about what you can do next. Like a fifth little tip here. Allow yourself a reset. Okay. We work really hard to create change. We work really hard to reach goals. Allow yourself that mental break, that thought process of resetting. Take a walk if it's overwhelming. Say you're wanting to pass a test and you're sitting there all day studying and you're studying and you're studying. Well, it's okay to get up, take some breaths, walk around, go outside, drink a coffee, take that break and let your body reset and get back to a positive mindset to where it's not stressed and cramming this information down. Okay. It's okay to reset. Allow yourself that reset because it will help you feel the motivation. You'll get that little going, okay, let's go back and study. I can do it. I've had the break. I'm refreshed. I can do this. It allows a positive thought process to come back in that's gone just to a wayside as you were sitting there studying for 4 hours. There are some people that can sit and study for 10 hours. I'm not one of them, so I have to refresh so that I can, rebuild that amp. Um, and then I think the sixth and final one that we're going to talk about today is give yourself grace. Okay? Give yourself grace. Allow yourself to forgive yourself if we do have a fallback, if we do have a day that's worse than another, if we do have, times that we're not achieving those goals as quickly as we would like. You've got to give yourself grace. You've got to allow yourself to forgive yourself. You have to realize what you're doing. And at that point, when you're sitting there doing that, you can also think about positive things like, hey, I've gotten this far, I've done really well. And it can go ahead and allow you to motivate or think positive about resetting, okay? About getting into something, getting back into something that you want to. You have to give yourself grace and forgiveness because we're not built perfect and we're not all going to have great days all the time. Okay. But if we can take these few little tips and then just think about what we're working for, what you'll see is great things will come from this. Your whole outlook can start to be a little bit different just by making a few steps with this. Okay. And this is saying one thing. You guys, you can have multiple goals or multiple things that you're wanting to work on, but look at them individually. Okay. Look at them individually. I guess that would actually be the seventh thing, the seventh tip here, because you can have a goal for multiple different things, but you have to prioritize them separately. You have to get them going separately. Okay. So, for example, I have a goal of losing weight. I have a goal of passing my test. I have a goal of, you know, getting my finances or whatever in order. I'm just saying a few things. I have a goal of changing my career. Like you can have multiple areas where you need the motivation, where you need that umph. And if you'll take and sit down and do what we've talked about here, write it down, plan for imperfections, adjust your expectations for that certain situation, allow yourself some support, reset when you need. If you will do that with each individual, your motivation to complete each task will continue, your motivation will grow. Okay. And also reward yourself for any achievements. Okay. Because achievements are great. Achievements will be beneficial in keeping you motivated. They will keep that fire inside of you. They will keep that desire to create that change or to reach that goal. Reward yourself. Let yourself have a reward. Whether it's, if you pass a test and it's been big, go to a concert, go on a cruise, go take a mini vacation. If you've reached a weight loss goal, go let yourself buy some new clothes. If you have, got yourself a new position at work, reward yourself with a nice dinner with family to celebrate. Reward your successes. Reward your successes, even if they're in small, minute areas, because you can do that and feed that internal desire to keep going and do that with other goals or other things that you want. I have a client that I worked with, and their goal was, I just want to be happy. Okay. That's a pretty broad goal because what do you do to be happy? Well, she was able to go in and create the changes by setting expectations, by allowing herself to have, some twitches here and there. She was able to talk to this with her family and her friends. And she did have to reset because there was some times where she just needed to shift her thinking again. So she would take that break and just get a breath and forgive herself for that time. Okay. And what happened is that she would, if so, the first week when she saw that she was having some more happiness, we had a calendar and we had a chart and we had all the things that were perfect. And when she would hit, her first one was 3 days of happiness where she could remember being happy most days, every day, all day. And when she hit 3 days, like she went out and she bought herself a shirt and she bought herself a coffee, and that was her reward. And then what she ended up doing is she did this for several weeks. And I don't know what she rewarded herself overall, but I do know that emotionally she rewarded herself on being happy. She hit that goal. I don't know if she did anything differently. I don't know what that was about or if she did, but I do know she was hitting her daily goals. And I would celebrate with her. When I would look at her calendar and see what she was seeing and what she was doing, I would reward that. And that could have been a simple little note that sent home with her, I'm proud of you or anything like that. But what it did do is it kept that going because she was able to reward herself. Did she have a happy day every day? No. No, she did not. But she did not have expectations of that either. That wasn't an expectation that she said. So it helps if you think about it in that logic. She could have really just stayed down and had no motivation, but she didn't because we went through this. We wrote it down. We went through our expectations and I really made her dig for that. And then, I told her, I said, there's going to be some days that you just don't feel happy. And we have to take that. We have to take that. And we have to also mark down when we do. Like I wanted her to see what she was seeing and what she was changing. And I wanted her to feel that little bit of oomph that I can do it. And it was great because her family was a support group to her. If she was having a day that she just was feeling blah, she had family that would encourage her to do something different, to think something different, to talk to her and just encourage her throughout the day. She had a great support system. Um And there were times that it was just too much and she just had a reset. And when I say reset, I'm not saying reset for weeks or months. I'm saying just take some time, a little break from the day, just kind of I call it shake it off, just get up and shake it off and let's restart and reset our mindset, our thought process and reevaluating and remembering what we're working for. So, motivation is very hard sometimes, but it also is something that we can achieve if we know what we're wanting to achieve. Even if your goal is just to get out of bed every day, right? If that's what we're wanting, as soon as you wake up in the morning, you've achieved that goal. And if we have to achieve that same goal for 6 weeks, just reward yourself that you're achieving that goal. Okay. You guys, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I want to thank you guys for just listening to what I'm saying. Please let me know if you're using any of these tips at all, if they're helping, if there's something more. There's so much on motivation that we can go over and discuss. So let me know if there's something else more that you want to hear. But for now, I'm going to say please like, share, and subscribe, and have a great weekend. Bye, guys.